Hollywood sold you a fantasy. Those cinematic tank versus tank showdowns? They accounted for less than 30% of German armored losses in the Second World War. The true tank killers of the Wehrmacht were humbler, harsher, and far more unexpected. Let's break the biggest illusion first. Most German tanks didn't die in heroic duels. They were abandoned, scuttled, or left crippled along muddy roads, undone by something deadlier than enemy fire: logistics. In 1944, a captured German maintenance officer told Allied interrogators a blunt ratio. For every panzer lost to enemy action, they lost 3 to mechanical failure and fuel shortage. Not propaganda, arithmetic. Take the Tiger's final drive. It often needed replacing every 500 Dallisum, assuming you could find the parts. Meanwhile, German industry was being pounded day and night by 1,000 bomber raids. A Panther relied on around 200 different ball bearings. When the Allies smashed Schweinfurt's ball-bearing plants, Panthers began failing before they ever reached the front. One embittered mechanic wrote, "We have beautiful tanks that can destroy anything, but they're sitting useless because we're missing a tiny gasket." The machines were formidable. The supply chain wasn't. Now the second biggest cause of German tank losses, and it wasn't what most people expect either: mines. Simple, cheap, mass-produced mines. The Red Army alone laid roughly 200 million. A $3 mine could cripple a 300,000 Reichsmark King Tiger. Soviet TM-41 mines didn't have to annihilate a tank. Shear off a track, and the job was done. In the mud season, a tracked giant became a 60-ton paperweight. American data from Normandy showed that mines and improvised explosive devices destroyed more German armor than bazookas and tank guns combined. As one tank commander lamented, they scanned the horizon for enemy armor while death waited beneath their tracks. So what actually destroyed the most German tanks in combat? Not anti-tank guns. Not other tanks. Artillery. Plain, old-fashioned artillery. The Soviets refined this with their pack-front tactic, massing hundreds of guns and leveling grid squares where German armor appeared. They didn't need pinpoint hits. A 152mm shell detonating within 10 meters could flip a panzer. Concussion alone could kill crews. At Kursk, Soviet artillery wrecked more German tanks in 3 hours than tank battles did in 3 days. American artillery proved even deadlier thanks to a quiet revolution: the proximity, or VT, fuse. These fuses made shells burst overhead, raining shrapnel onto thin top armor, often just 25 millimeters on German tanks. Crews found commanders killed in an instant by fragments they never saw. One Panzer veteran recalled that they feared American artillery above all. You couldn't fight it, couldn't see it, couldn't escape it. Perhaps the most ingenious tank killer was also the most unassuming: the Soviet PTRD-41 anti-tank rifle. It couldn't punch through a Tiger's frontal plate, but soldiers discovered a different tactic. Put 20 rounds into the vision ports and periscopes, and you blind the crew. Blind tanks veer into ravines, crash into buildings, or clamp down their hatches and lose awareness, becoming nearly useless. The Soviets manufactured about 471,000 of these rifles at roughly 193 rubles apiece. A Tiger cost around 300,000 Reichsmarks. The asymmetry speaks for itself. Then came the fighter bombers. The Allied cab rank system kept strike aircraft orbiting, ready to pounce the moment a controller called them in. Hawker Typhoon rockets had an abysmal hit rate, under 5%, but they didn't need precision to paralyze. The psychological weight did the work. German tank units bunched under trees, terrified to move in daylight, which made them perfect targets once artillery observers called in coordinates. Immobilized by fear, They became stationary problems for the guns to solve. Here's the unforgiving math of attrition. Across the war, Germany built 49,177 tanks. Their enemies fielded around 227,000 combined. And tanks weren't eliminating tanks at anything close to a 1-to-1 ratio. They were succumbing to mines that cost less than a helmet, to artillery rounds lobbed from 20 kilometers away, and to breakdowns and fuel shortages that courage couldn't fix. The darkest coda of all. By 1945, German crews destroyed more of their own tanks than the enemy did. Out of fuel, out of ammunition, and out of hope, they set charges and walked away rather than hand their vehicles over intact. Maintenance logs from April 1945 repeat the same bleak refrains. Destroyed by crew. Lack of fuel. So the real tank killers of World War II weren't dashing aces or supposedly superior Allied tanks. They were supply chains, industrial capacity, weather, mines, and relentless arithmetic. Germany built magnificent machines that could win any head-to-head duel. But modern war isn't a duel. It's a factory floor. And the Allies turned theirs into the most efficient tank-killing machine on the planet.